we've looked at strategies to help you build that blue ocean for your company or your business. I'd like to introduce my next guest. Stefan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Stefan Zavalin, Dr. Stefan Zavalin, if you really want to get super technical with it. I started a company called The Professional Unicorn, which everybody always goes, how did you come up with that name? It came out of insecurities. We will get to those because being in a red ocean will get you a lot of insecurities and then trying to get out into a blue ocean with that. But what it has morphed into me doing a lot of times is finding those unique aspects within a company or within a solopreneur that helps them find either the unique audience or the offer that makes them stand out. And so it's become much more of me consulting people. Whereas when I started out, I thought I was going to be doing marketing. It's now become much more consulting about how people show up in unique ways of marketing and not just saying this is the one and only way to do it. So I'm really glad we're talking about the Blue Ocean strategy today because it's before even reading it, I was starting to kind of implement it. And once I read it, I went, "Oh, good! I'm not insane. Other people have thought about this even more than I have by far." So that's been quite nice.
Always great to get that reassurance when you read a book or you have a conversation. And I get that a lot with my clients. I'll be having a conversation and they'll be like, I knew I was going the right way, or I knew I had to do that. I just needed to hear you say that it was the right way to do it.
Sometimes we need that, and I think it's one of the interesting things that I've always tried to get that out of coaches, out of business coaches. Had multiples of just tell me what to do, just tell me the right thing to do, and so many of them will go, "Well, you could." Like, I don't need that. Tell me what to do.
Often try to ask questions. So my method of coaching is more what the ICF calls coaching, which is what have you done? What haven't you done? Where are the gaps? Where do we go from here? Because often the client knows better. And I feel like this strategy from the book speaks to that because what we're always trying to carve is how are you going to differentiate yourself from other people so that your business grows and it's fruitful. And you do this for your clients, but I'd love to hear how you did it for yourself.
So interestingly enough, I think I got to the point of understanding the concept of a red ocean. I prefaced it with saying I realized it before I read the book in a large way. But around a lot of solopreneurs and a lot of people, this is when I kind of started into the marketing realm of things, thinking that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do social media marketing, and realizing there's so many people doing it. How are you going to make yourself? Why would anybody ever pick you versus anybody else? And just that immediate question kept on driving me to, okay, well, can I ever say that I'm the best? And that's one of the things, even in networking events, where I tell people, if you're a small business owner and you're telling me you have the highest quality, I think it's bullshit. How could you possibly have the highest quality when you have these giant corporations that have way bigger budgets for various things, right? So I always have that kind of a feeling. So it led me to going, what actually is going to differentiate me from all of it? And what it's come down to, and what I largely work with my clients on, is me. No one else is going to have me, so now I have to figure out how does that work into my business. And what I ended up doing was I ended up interviewing and having interviews with my clients, and then we chopped it up as social media things because I was able to get them comfortable, relaxed, and having that conversation where multiple times people would just say, I haven't said that in 10 years. I can't believe you got that story out of me. But it was a beautiful, interesting story. And so it's finding those little pieces that I notice other people aren't providing, but yet seem to come so naturally to me. And it helped me kind of pull people. You all have heard the summary of the blue ocean part. It made people that said, I'm not going to do social media because I don't feel comfortable on camera. I don't like being on there. I said, okay, you like being on events and on one-on-one calls? That's literally all we're doing. So we're taking that sort of non-customer approach and turning you into a customer because we're saying that's all you have to do. We're just now using it in a different way and just repurposing content, if you would. So that was kind of the beginning of all of it. It ended up shaping later on where some people just said, I just need to talk to you for an hour. Like times after talking, I have so many ideas and I can make videos myself. And so that ended up being another sort of offering of where people just wanted to talk for an hour and that could be it. And then morphing further into the kind of consulting and those kinds of things. But that was the way that I did it, is because people just kept commenting, you are authentically, uniquely you. I like that. That's different from all this other stuff that I'm seeing. That's why I want to work with you.
I think that's also how a lot of companies come to fruition, which is how my company happened. I used to own a print shop and I was one in many. I was in a red ocean, as you would say. But as soon as I came into the industry, I said, well, none of them are me. None of them are going to have the same conversations. None of them are going to have the same ideas. And I approached it in a different way whereby people would come to me me and they say, hey, I want to print this. And I would say, why do you want to print it? What are you trying to get out of this product, so that we figure out, if we know your end goal, maybe the product that you're thinking isn't the right thing. And I position myself as that consultant, as that marketing expert. Hey, there are these other options that I have seen worked. Why don't we try some of them? And to your point, you were talking about how people come to you for just consultancy. Give me ideas, I can go and do that. And the book speaks about that. It speaks about going for non clients, people that you necessarily wouldn't think as clients. So, where have you faced that, and what's the best way somebody can identify those non clients so that they can take full advantage of it?
And the book does such a great, if you want to go granular, obviously read the book. It's going to go into way more detail than we can in this short amount of time. But I think that the immediate thing is it's going to take a few apps for you to actually get from non-customers, because a lot of times people think non-customers are just people not buying from me, or people like that haven't bought yet. All of those are potential customers. They're still technically customers. You haven't gotten to the non-customers. The non-customers are the people that don't think the service or product that you have is at all for them. They're not interested. They're not even looking for that specific thing. And so it's finding the bridge and the gap between that, of saying, this should be for you. In my situation of when I just brought on people that weren't even thinking, they were saying, yeah, I don't do videos on social media. No matter how many times people tell me, that's just not something I'm ever going to do. I don't feel comfortable. I'm not even interested at all. It was saying, well, do you do this thing? Which was just, do you talk to other human beings on camera and virtually? Great. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do this other extra step. We're going to do all that stuff for you. You're just getting then that benefit. So it kind of introduced them into that industry without them actually doing the thing that most people would say you have to do for that industry. That's at least my specific example.
And that talks as well with what the book is saying about building value, because while they're having those conversations with those people, which would just be an interaction and a conversation, you're saying, hey, have the potential to create value for this conversation by then creating some sort of content. And I know that some people, some of my clients, they still refuse to make those videos, but I say, what did you learn from this conversation? Could you write a blog? Could you post something on LinkedIn just about what you learned with a screenshot of the meeting that you had? It doesn't have to be the full recording, but how can you turn that into some sort of value proposition for somebody? And you touched upon this a little bit, where I go with my clients, we go through SWOT analysis sometimes, and you want to leverage those strengths and you want to grab those weaknesses and see if there's opportunities to strengthen them or to outsource them. So when you're talking about the you, I'm uniquely me. What are those strengths that make you you? And I'd love for you to share what strengths make you you for your business.
Sure. I think I have various quotes that end up sort of surfacing. They're not other people's quotes, they're quotes that just come up and formulate for me over the years. And inevitably, one that I've been using is, I just want business to be fun. It feels that inevitably, as soon as we get into certain aspects of business and creating this stuff, it just gets boring. And as soon as you talk about sales, all of a sudden people go, oh, sales, like, I don't, that's terrifying. I don't want to do that. Or marketing is boring. Accounting is boring. In reality, if all of those things are necessary for us to make money, money is not boring. So I think for me, what I found was, one, I wanted to make things magical. That's all the unicorns and stuff behind me, because I said, why not? Why can't we bring some entertainment into this kind of boring field of it all and have a unique, better spin on it? So for me, it was making sure that I have fun. But then the biggest thing truly is intuition. I understand that everybody is super in tune, or maybe intuitive, not my realm. But I have found again and again and again that I would have a feeling about someone or some business plan, and maybe I didn't act on it. And then months down the road, there was evidence to support that I was completely right. And like, I should have done the thing way before and not wasted so much time. That happened when I did my TEDx talk, and I spent thousands on a coach that I didn't need to spend. I could have spent just a couple, maybe 100, maybe a couple thousand, and would have been completely fine. But it was finding those intuitive things of going, does this feel right for me? And if this feels right for me, truly, it probably feels right for other people. And I find that most people aren't willing to go past that and say what they truly think, and then leverage that for their customers as well. So I know that's kind of a roundabout way of saying the unique part, but that's truly the unique part, because I go, do I feel that this is right? Because if I don't, then it's not going out to customers.
And I like that conversation that you can have with a client where you feel that level of comfort, but also confidence to say, hey, this is what I feel is right for you and your brand. And this is the unique value that I can bring to you. And I often find that a lot of people, they don't do because they don't want to get it wrong. They don't want to get it wrong, but that intuition is going to come with experience, with doing. You're going to learn, and you're going to learn what things worked, what things didn't work. And then you can slowly get better at figuring out, is this going to be a good fit? I don't want to cut it short, but I did have one final question for you. From your marketing experience and everything that you've been doing, are there any particular industries that you think are prime for a blue ocean strategy?
I think that could be a whole other podcast all by itself. I think that there are many that people overlook and don't think about, and I think it's more about look at trends and look at where and this they talk about this a little bit also in the book to a degree, but looking at general trends where they're going, and if you take them to their final outcome. In the book, they talk about the euro overtaking the European market in terms of currency. But even let's say right now, a lot of people are not able to afford housing, especially buying houses. So a lot more people are renting houses. So if there's a lot of people renting houses, there is this potential then for all the people that have to do the maintenance, that are like plumbers, electricians, all those people could create a blue ocean of some sort of a way of maybe you just do, let's say you take a couple of zip codes and you say, hey, if you pay me a subscription, I'm your on-call plumber. I don't have any other clients. I'm just working right around here and that's it. You have me on staff without having to hire a W-2 employee or any of those kind of things. To me, it's finding those little pieces of seeing that was the trend. How do I work my way down of where what I do actually helps people in that regard? So for you, if it was the 3D or the printing, or people now are doing other 3D printing, if you would, and AI kind of stuff as it's rising, what are the things? Because in my mind, I think a lot of people are doing AI and they're overlooking the human element of it, and humans I feel are starting to get a little left behind. Way back when AI just started, I wanted to create a website that said like AI free or no AI used, and use it as a certification so that other companies and websites could have this certification of no AI is used in our stuff, because I think it will be like organic food and genetically modified food, where some people will say I do not want any AI in these kinds of services. So with that, I think follow the trend and break it all the way down to where how can you serve the people where they may not be actually served as well, which I know is literally the book, but that's what I'm seeing at least.
You know what? I lied. I have another question because of what you just said. And that question is, you're having to stay on top of industry trends. You're having to see what the customer wants. How do you balance that differentiation where you have to stay on top of everything, but also keep your blue ocean?
What I love that they say in the book about this is you have to think long term. And the long term part of it is if you truly believe, and this maybe even goes into Simon Sinek, your why, your mission and vision kind of stuff. Not to get too woo woo with this, but if you truly believe in the thing that you are doing and that it is going to be long lasting, the trends don't matter nearly as much. Because as we're going now, trends seem to flip over faster, the same way as tech is flipping over faster. So I think if you're truly creating a blue ocean, there truly isn't competition, which I think is arguable with how fast paced things are. I think we can't really do completely red and blue oceans. They're more like purple oceans, and they're different hues of purple, most likely, which is my favorite color. So that works out well for me. But I think if you do see trends, there has to be the question of, does this fit with our mission and vision and where we're building and where we're trying to go or not? Because if you get the right customers that also buy in and believe into the right exact thing, product, service, whatever it is that you're doing, they're also not going to care about the trends. And the ones that fall off, they're the ones that are going to keep on chasing the trends. It didn't matter what you were going to do. I think there's really kind of a power in saying, this is what we are, this is what we do, we're sticking with it. And I think that's the better way, as opposed to constantly jumping and moving depending on what your customers exclusively want and what the trends tell you to do.
I love that because that brings it all full circle into know your identity, know the identity of your business and the overall value that you're providing. Stefan, thank you so much for participating today. If any of our listeners would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way to reach out?
You can easily find me on LinkedIn. That's one of the easiest ways. Stefan Zavalin. Any other social media platform that you like, I'm on all of them.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I will see you next week.